Good morning. It is good to see all of you today, whether you are joining us here in person or online. I'm Jo Celine, OUUC Media Specialist. I use they, them, or she, her pronouns. Please note that this Zoom service is being recorded and it is streaming live to YouTube. We use the Zoom chat feature for greetings, song lyrics, affirmations and applause, and items shared from the heart. The chat is not posted or shared publicly. If you are online and experience any technical issues during the service, you can reach out to me or any other member of the tech team for assistance when the Zoom chat is on. For those of you in the sanctuary or in person today, please turn the sound off on any devices you have, or you may turn them off altogether. Please also note that you will be able to view the chat on the screen in the front of the room during the sharing from the heart portion of the service. We ask that you please keep your mouth and nose covered by your mask while you are here. We also ask that you refrain from singing, but please feel free to hum along. These measures are for everyone's safety. Last, for those online, I hope you will find a candle or a chalice, and in a moment we can light them together. Thank you all for your grace and adaptability. As we all remember, it's about connection, not perfection.
Good morning. Let's sing together our morning song. Our morning song is going to be hymn number 221, Light One Chalice, or you can find the words posted in the order of service or in the chat. Light one chalice for Maccabee children, for thanks that their light didn't die. Light one candle for the pain they endured when their right to exist was denied. Light one candle for the terrible sacrifice justice and freedom demand. Light one candle for the wisdom to know when the peacemaker's time is at hand. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. Light one candle for the strength that we need to never become our own foe. Light one candle for those who are suffering the pain we learned long ago. Light one candle for all we believe in, that anger will tear us apart. And light one candle to bring us together with peace and song in our heart. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears. What is the memory that's valued so highly? We keep it alive in our faith. What's the commitment to those who have died when we cry out they're not died in vain? Have we come this far, always believing that justice would somehow prevail? This is the burden, and this is His promise, and this is why we will not fail. Don't let the light go out, it's lasted for so many years. Don't let the light go out, let it shine through our love and our tears.
Good morning. Welcome to the Olympia Unitarian Universalist Congregation Worship Service. We welcome each of you to this celebration of love and to this congregation. The OUUC community comes together in the mutual promises and possibilities of our covenant. We envision an interconnected world that is loving, just, and healthy. We commit to live out our mission to welcome and wonder, embrace and empower, bridge and become. We're so glad you are here. My name is Ann Colbury. I use she, her, or they, them pronouns, and I am a member of the worship arts team. Leading worship is our minister, Reverend Mary Gear, Troy Fisher, our music director, and Sarah Lewis, the director of community and faith development. We are grateful for the many hands that helped make worship happen this morning. Thank you to the ushers and greeters, the breakout room hosts, the tech team members, the singers, and all who contribute in so many ways. After the service, everyone will have the chance to discuss reflection questions offered by Reverend Mary. For those online, we invite you to go into a breakout room for a virtual coffee chat. This is a chance to gather with a small group to say hello and check in. Each breakout room will be hosted by someone to help make sure that everyone knows each other and has a chance to share. For those here, please feel free to bring the reflection questions into your discussions, or if you want to join a group, you can gather near the rocker or at the back of the sanctuary. The questions are printed on the order of service. We hope you'll join the discussion wherever you are. This morning and every Sunday morning, we join Unitarian Universalist congregations around the world in lighting a chalice, the symbol of our faith tradition. Please join me as we light our chalices together with these words by Deborah Falk. A chalice lit in our midst is a symbol of our liberal faith, a faith built on the foundation of freedom, reason, and tolerance, a faith sustained by acts of kindness and justice, a faith that visions a world flourishing with equality for all her people, a faith that demands the living out of goodness, a faith that requires thoughtfulness, a faith of wholeness. This tiny flame is the symbol of the spark of all this within each of us.
This morning marks the second Sunday of the season of Advent. We are entering a time of year where the earth grows colder, animals begin to hibernate, and the days become continually shorter. In the Christian tradition, Advent is the beginning of the church year, anticipating the birth of Jesus and the celebration of spiritual light. Many faith traditions use fire, candles, and light as part of their celebrations of this time of year. Unitarian Universalism is a faith with roots in Christianity. While some UUs today identify as Christians and others don't, during the season of Advent, we all have something we can find illuminating, comforting, challenging, or fulfilling by reinterpreting old traditions. We will join the churches of our neighbors all over the world, lighting these Advent candles, one more each Sunday leading up to Christmas, plus one more in the center on Christmas Eve. Our candles signify hope, peace, joy, and love. As we light them throughout this season of waiting, let us remember to be fully present in the moment with each other, with ourselves, and with the source of blessing as we understand it to be. Last Sunday, we lit the first candle for hope. Today, we light our second candle as a symbol of our longing for peace. May we bring hope into the world by practicing peacemaking. May our caring community be a source of freedom from violence and exclusion. Together, May we strive to create a lasting peace.
Good morning. Our opening words this morning are Hoping, Trusting for So Many Things by Katie Kandarian Morris. Here we have come into this sacred space, quieter now with our readiness, hushed voices, hoping, trusting for so many things, for connection, for communion, for inspiration, for information, for healing, for wholeness, for words, for music, for celebration and consolation. Here we have come into this space, bringing all of who we are. Let us be willing, however we are changed. Come, let us worship together.
Let's sing together. Let's sing together our opening hymn, hymn number 297. If you're in the sanctuary, you can hum along with us at home. You can find the words posted in the chat or in the order of service. 297, The Star of Truth. Thank you for singing.
Good morning. So Unitarian Universalism is often called a living faith. And we say that we are each of us individually free to believe what we must believe because of our personal experience, rather than what we are told that we must believe by anyone else. Now, this is also why we say that we are a faith without creeds. And creeds is just a fancy religious word for a belief statement that you're told you must believe in. And creeds are often associated with orthodoxy or straight teaching. Now, we say that we are without creeds, and we say that we are a living faith. And this also means that to be a living faith, that we have to be ready to change and to grow in our beliefs as we get new truths or new information, new experiences.
And to do that in community, well, we need to listen to one another and hear experiences different from our own. There's a saying that human beings have 2 ears and only 1 mouth because we're supposed to listen twice as much as we talk. And sometimes we listen with those ears and with our minds. And sometimes, especially in spiritual, beloved community, we need to listen with our hearts. So this story is from our UU history, and it's about one of those times. It was 1948, and most churches across the United States were segregated. That means that only people of one race or skin tone were welcome in each kind of church. And some of these churches were segregated by law because they were in a place where the law of the government said that was the way it should be. And some of these churches were segregated by custom or by practice. Now, the First Unitarian Society of Chicago was one of those latter ones. It was segregated by custom and practice. Although it was in a neighborhood where many African Americans lived, the bylaws of the church said that only white people could be members. Now, in 1948, many of the members of the First Unitarian Society were beginning to think that this had to change if they were going to live into the truth of their faith, if they were going to confront racism, if they were going to live their truth, this needed to change. And the minister, Reverend Leslie Pennington, was one of those and was ready for this moment of change. And so was James Luther Adams, who was a really well-known teacher of theology and ethics. So basically, he was a teacher who spent all of his time thinking about what was most really, really true and what was most really, really right. And he taught at the Meadville Lombard Theological School, which was right across the street from First Unitarian Society of Chicago, and he was serving on the board of the church. So he and Reverend Pennington and some others drafted up a proposal to change the bylaws and desegregate the church. But it wasn't without controversy. There were people in the church who disagreed with this idea. Some actually thought that they did support African American rights and civil liberties, but they didn't think that desegregation was the right way to do it. They believed in an idea called separate but equal, and they thought that this was a better way to go. So there was disagreement. But the board met to discuss this new change to the bylaws, and it was proposed. And then one member of the board objected and said, "We can't do that because you would make desegregation into a creed. You would say that everyone has to believe in it. And what if some people don't? We can't have creeds." Well, they had to talk about this. They had to have a debate. And I think they were probably forgetting the 2 ears and 1 mouth rule, because they talked and they talked and they talked, and the records show that the board meeting went all the way into the early hours of the next morning, and they were still talking about it. Until finally, James Luther Adams asked a question that was listening from the heart. He asked the board member who had the strongest objection to desegregation, he said, "What do you say is the purpose of this church?" And when he asked that question, everybody got quiet because they all really wanted to hear the answer. They knew this was a question from the heart. And the board member also got really quiet for a long time. He was probably listening to his own heart really deeply. And he was listening to everything that he had heard already in that long discussion from everyone else. And after a long pause, he laughed a little ruefully and said, "Well, Jim, I guess the purpose of this church is to get a hold of people like me and change them. The First Unitarian Society of Chicago was successfully desegregated. Thus ends our story.
Is in our lives. In this space, we draw on the strength of our community to hold all that we bring here with us. In this space, we share from our hearts what brings us joy and sorrow, what brings us worry and delight, what makes us afraid, and what makes us dance. Let's open our hearts to the complexity of life, ours and others. If you would like to send in something to share, please look for the link on the OUUC website on the worship page, and we'll bring it into the service next week. You will hear a drumbeat as we share today. It brings into our awareness that our individual hearts beat, and together we create the heartbeat of community. Right now, let's just take a deep breath together, in and out. And let's open our hearts to receive all the complexity that is in our lives and community today. Emmy Allen asks that we pray for their Uncle Bruce, a deeply complicated person. May his travels in the afterlife be blissful and loving, and may their family let go of the harm he caused, and may he come back and do better. Let's send our love and care to Cindy Bowens as she is in the hospital again with complications related to her chronic illness. This is her second hospitalization recently, and it is so not her favorite thing. Cindy, may you know that you are held in love and light, with prayers that you return home soon. A word of gratitude for the Community Response Thursday at the Islamic Center of Olympia, as we gathered to bear witness and offer solidarity. The center was the victim of a hate crime a few weeks ago. And in this time of continued Islamophobia, may our Muslim siblings know that we see them in love and we join them in solidarity against hate. In this season, may we welcome the lessons of perseverance and presence. And we hold in love our Jewish siblings as they near the end of the celebration of Hanukkah, the miracle of the light that burned for 8 nights. In this time of continued anti-Semitism, may they know that we see them in love and join them in solidarity against hate. In this season, may we welcome the lessons of faith and hope. For those online, I invite you to share from your heart by entering in the chat on your screen. This is a time to share all that you wish, joys and sorrows, and whatever else is shared from your heart. As we take in what is posted, let us hear the heartbeat of our community and reach out our hearts in love and care to all those who share. And for those who are in person today, I invite you to come forward as if there is something you would like to bring into this space, into this community. You may place a stone in the water as you hold your sharing in your heart. And we also invite members of the choir who are in the commons today to come into the sanctuary to share. We'll place a stone in the water for all that has been shared from the heart, a stone holding the complexity of our lives, held in the water of our community. And we'll place one more stone in the water for all that we hold in our hearts and that remains unspoken. I invite you now into a time of reflection, prayer, and meditation. These words are adapted from Nathan C. Walker. And let us begin with a breath together. Breathing in, I am aware of my past. Breathing out, I am aware that I am not my past. Breathing in, I am aware of my pain. Breathing out, I am aware that I am not my pain. Breathing in, I am aware of my anger. Breathing out, I am aware that I am not my anger. Breathing in, I am aware of my despair. Breathing out, I am aware that I am not my despair. Breathing in, I am aware of peace. Breathing out, I am aware that I am worthy of peace. Breathing in, I am aware of love. Breathing out, I am aware that I am worthy of love. Breathing in, I am aware of joy. Breathing out, I am aware that I am an agent of joy. Breathing in, I am aware of hope. Breathing out, I am aware that I am an agent of hope. Breathing in, I am aware. Let's hold a moment of silence together.
Let's sing hymn number 1009 together. Meditation on breathing. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. When I breathe in, I breathe in peace. When I breathe out, I breathe out love. Breathe in, breathe out. Breathe in, breathe out.
Our prayers and meditations deepen our gratitude for what we know as sacred in our lives and in this world. Each Sunday, we express our gratitude by joining together in service to our community and to something greater than ourselves. The offering collected here does two things. It supports the ongoing work of OUUC, which is also supported by your regular pledges. This offering also supports an organization that serves our community in harmony with our Unitarian Universalist values. Our Share the Plate recipient for November and December is the Mayday Foundation. They provide immediate, practical financial support to local families coping with cancer while raising kids at home. We have a message to share about their work.
Hi, OUUC. My name is Amy Rowley. I use the she, her pronouns, and I am the executive director of the Mayday Foundation. I am so appreciative of spending a couple minutes of your time today to share with you about the Mayday Foundation. And I wanted to start by just saying how grateful and thankful I am for your generosity today as part of Share the Plate. The Mayday Foundation provides immediate, practical financial support to local families coping with cancer while raising kids at home. Our service area is primarily Thurston County, but we also support families in Mason, Lewis, and Grace Harbor County. This year alone, we've supported 17 families, which represents 32 kids. They've been able to stay in their homes and not be forced into bankruptcy or have to move while coping with a devastating cancer diagnosis. Our Family Support Fund covers household expenses, things like rent, mortgage, utilities, gas, and groceries for families while they're dealing with their cancer. We're meant to be a short-term stopgap until families can figure out their long-term financial budget, maybe going from 2 incomes down to 1, or just having to shift around some of their spending habits. I was diagnosed with breast cancer in April of 2017. I had no family history of breast cancer, and so it really caught me off guard. During my year of treatment, I realized just how challenging it is to be a cancer patient, be a spouse, be a parent, be an employee, all of those aspects. And so I started the Mayday Foundation as a way to help other local families that are in the same situation that I found myself in. The Mayday Foundation has been in existence since January 2018, and we are supported through individual contributions, corporate donations, giving groups like yours, and also with some grant funding. Our main fundraiser happens in May, surprisingly on May Day, and it is flowers that are delivered throughout the county. So if that sounds like something fun that you'd like to get more involved in, I'd encourage you to check out maydayfoundation.org. Again, that's maydayfoundation.org, and you can learn more about the organization. Thank you again so much for letting the Mayday Foundation be part of Share the Plate. Take care.
Please note that you can participate in the offering by making a donation online through the church website or by texting the number that will appear on your screen in just a moment. You can also mail a check to OUUC or place your offering in one of the baskets brought around by ushers. Unitarian Universalism is a grand vision of a world filled with peace and justice, love, and joy. That vision is embodied in our congregations, in each one of you, through your commitment of time, energy, and resources, helps make that grand vision real. May the offering now be generously given as it is gratefully received.
Again and again
for your generous gifts. Today's reading is adapted from A Recipe for Resilience by Margaret Weiss. This recipe has been tweaked over time, so adjust is necessary. It comes from generations who have come before me, and I've added my own flavor along the way. A Recipe for Resilience. In a large pot, combine 1 part courage, 2 parts tears of failure and doubt, 1 part deep listening, 1 part each silence and laughter, a dash of trust, a pinch of wonder, and a heaping scoop of naps and snacks. In a separate bowl, mix together family, friends, and those who challenge you to be your best self, those who disagree with you. Pour this slowly into the larger pot. Add a bay leaf for, well, whatever it is that bay leaves do, and let simmer for as long as you need, often longer than you anticipate. Keep the heat even, enough to cook throughout, but not so hot it burns. Serve at room temperature, warm, or even cold if necessary. Best served alongside a favorite soft blanket, dog, cat, or other soothing item. Make often, share with others, and hold on to the leftovers to comfort and recharge you after a long day that challenges your soul. This ends our reading.
This month, in a month of holidays that celebrate darkness and light, our spiritual theme is healthy. This is the 3rd word in the OUUC vision of a loving, just, and healthy world, the words that we have been considering this fall. And we know that a healthy person and a healthy world can embrace darkness and light and everything in between. Today, I ask us to consider what it means to be a healthy congregation. Just a bit ago, Sarah told the beloved story about Unitarian theologian James Luther Adams and his time at the First Unitarian Society in Chicago. This was a story about the congregation's response to racism and segregation in 1948, but it could have been a story about a congregation facing change today. It could be a congregation struggling with whether anti-racism should be the focus of our spiritual and justice work, or what to do when ministers, staff, and volunteers are tired or burned out, or any other decision that has many facets and even more opinions about how to proceed. Right now is a time when every congregation is in discernment about how to respond to a very fast changing world. The effects of COVID-19, an increased awareness of racial injustice, a growing climate crisis, and threats to our democracy. How do we respond? How do we decide where to focus? And how do we decide together? The story of the First Unitarian Society in Chicago also shows us many examples of health in a congregation. First, congregational leaders were able to see realistically what was changing in the world. They connected to something greater than themselves, whether it was humankind, the collective good, justice, or a higher power. They connected with their sense of mission and purpose, even revisiting the question of what their purpose was, and if they all agreed on what it was. A healthy congregation stays focused on its mission, discerns what benefits the mission and what doesn't, and says no to what doesn't, and a wholehearted yes to what does. The leaders of the First Unitarian Society expressed differences and disagreement. They expected them. The expression of differences was allowed, even encouraged. They did not confuse community with sameness. They expected that everyone would be respectful and be heard. What might be perceived as the threat of difference was acknowledged and dealt with clearly and directly. Conflict was expected and used for growth, the growth of individuals and the growth of the congregation. A healthy congregation has a covenant or agreement about how to be together, how to be in difference, and how to disagree while staying in relationship. The First Unitarian Society focused on growth, not necessarily growth in numbers, but the spiritual growth of individuals and of the community, growth in their maturity, their ability to be with difference and anxiety, growth in their connectedness with each other and with the larger world, and growth in their mission. They called on the strengths of their community, and they practiced growing their inner resources. Then they used their inner resources to support their own health and the health of the world. The congregation was engaged, energetic, focused, imaginative, and open. A healthy congregation focuses on transformation and growth, encouraging engagement and connection. The story of the First Unitarian Society of Chicago is often told to illustrate how Unitarian Universalism is a living tradition. We don't have a set creed that everyone must believe. We expect that what we believe and value individually and collectively will change over time as we are exposed to new thoughts, new ideas, and new experiences. Our beliefs and values change as we grow. And just as our spiritual development is a process, so is health. Being healthy is never static. It's not a state that we achieve and then we're done, although we might like it to be so. And any process takes attention and it takes time. Making efforts toward health must be attended to regularly and must be given time for new learning and for practicing the new learning. A healthy congregation stays attuned to health and takes the time to learn and nurture healthy practices. At the First Unitarian Society and many other Unitarian and Unitarian Universalist congregations, as well as in our UU Association, attempts at racial justice have been spotty, incomplete, and sometimes damaging. We can expect mistakes as we learn and grow. At best, we can acknowledge that this is the case, make amends where needed, and learn from each challenge. It's the learning that is important. Healthy congregations know that mistakes are part of learning, and they know how to apologize and make amends. In fact, disease is needed for growth. In our bodies, we know quite well now that vaccines help us stay healthy. Vaccines activate our immune system to help fight off disease, making us stronger when we encounter a virus, more able to fight off the virus without getting too sick or even worse. Well, congregations have an immune system too, and we can expect some dis-ease or discomfort as we grow. There is no growth without challenge, and challenge can be uncomfortable. A healthy congregation expects challenge and the discomfort that comes with it, knowing that growth is possible. Now, I want to be clear about something that can get confused regarding discomfort and safety. When I speak about the discomfort or dis-ease that is needed for growth, I'm talking about the feelings and body sensations that come when we face doubt or uncertainty about what we believe or about our values, or maybe even discomfort about our actions. How we feel when we question something that we hold to be true or doubt something that we value or have done. What I am not talking about is basic safety and security, the right to be free from harassment, abuse, and violence. Everyone has the right to be free from harm. This is why we have policies at OUUC for a safer congregation, knowing that no congregation can be totally safe, just safer. And when I say discomfort is needed for growth, I'm not talking about the pain that comes from being harmed. I'm talking about the destruction of our old values and beliefs that is needed to create new, the values and beliefs that result from new thoughts, ideas, and experiences. I'm talking about the discomfort of transformation. Mission, covenant, transformation. These are the foundations of a healthy congregation. Of course, there are loads of details, like how do we make decisions? How do we share power and allocate authority? How do we fund our dreams and our mission? How do we use our resources? All of those are important questions. Congregational systems consultant Peter Steinke wrote in his book on healthy congregations that every congregation has 4 core issues to wrestle with: mission and purpose and how to achieve it, congregational strengths and resources and how to best use them, risks, threats, and anxiety and how to manage them, wholeness and health and how to maintain and support it. It is in the process of wrestling with these core issues that we learn and grow as individuals and as a congregation. Health is dynamic, and permanent perfect health or wholeness is not achievable, but we can take actions to promote well-being and balance. We can discern our vision and mission, as this congregation did together last spring. We're using the words from those as our spiritual themes this year, so we can deepen our understanding of what they mean and how we can live into them. We can develop a covenant and practice living into it. OUUC is due to revisit our covenant, and I have asked our Pacific Western Region staff to help us in that process. We hope to start early next year. And then it is up to us to practice and live it out. And for that, we'll be putting together a healthy congregations team to help us nurture congregational health, although it is the job of all of us. You'll hear more about that in the weeks to come. And transformation, well, that is an ongoing process. Transformation requires first that we be open to growth and change, maybe expect it, perhaps even welcome it. We have to be willing to tolerate the discomfort of the challenges that lead to growth. And we must be able to live with imperfection in ourselves and in others. We are all under construction, and so is our congregation. Peter Steinke wrote about the 3 tools that he believes individuals and congregations need to support health. From his Christian tradition, he named 2 tools as faith and prayer. He believed that we need tools to help us face and deal with reality, to face uncertainty, and to help us build resilience. For those of us who are uncomfortable with the words faith and prayer, I would offer these in translation: trust or conviction, and spiritual practice. Trust in something or someone, conviction or strong belief in something or someone. Faith with a bit of doubt and always questioning, but trust that there is something bigger than us. Whether we name it humanity or Gaia, spirit or God. And spiritual practices are those things that we do that help us remember our inner light and that we are part of the interdependent web. And that is Steinke's 3rd tool for health: connection and interdependence. He calls it being with. Being with. We do the work of mission, covenant, and transformation in relationship with ourselves, with each other, and with something greater than us. We can learn who we are only in the context of relationships. Messy, uncomfortable, glorious relationships. Now, you might ask why I am focused on congregational health when what we envision is a healthy world. I believe that it is in congregations that we can learn, develop, and practice the skills we need to foster health in the world. Activist Adrienne Marie Brown wrote this: "Until we have some sense of how to live out solutions locally, we won't be successful at implementing a just governing system regionally, nationally, or globally. What we practice at the small scale sets the pattern for the whole system." And so this is how I think it works. A congregation that is purposeful, covenantal, transformational, faithful, and relational. That is a healthy congregation, which helps support healthy people to practice and learn, and healthy people can create a healthy world. Healthy people can change the world. That is my vision for a healthy OUUC. The Hebrew word shalom has many meanings, one of which is wholeness. In this season of light and dark, as Jews celebrate the miracle of the light, may we embrace shalom in all of its meanings. May we find peace and harmony in these times. And may we foster health and wholeness in ourselves and in our community. Shalom. Let's take a breath together as we move into a time of silence.
Let's sing together our closing hymn. Our closing hymn will be hymn number 145, As Tranquil Streams, and you can find the words posted in the chat.
I invite you to be seated. We had a couple of announcements that didn't get done earlier, and so we're going to do those right now before we extinguish our chalice.
After today's service and coffee chat, please join the Board of Trustees and Reverend Mary for a listening session on the proposed budget. Bring your questions about OUUC's finances and the upcoming fiscal year transition. You'll find information about the proposed budget in this past Tuesday's update. This session will prepare us for next Sunday's congregational meeting, which will directly follow the service. The agenda for the December 12th meeting is to vote on the proposed budget. A quorum of members is needed for a vote, so please plan to attend. All are welcome. Also next Sunday, you're invited to a Giving Tree donation drive and open house here at OUUC from 1:30 to 2:30. We are collecting items for the residents at the mitigation site downtown and gift cards for about 40 needy families at LP Brown Elementary School. You can drive through and just drop off your donation, or instead park and enjoy some hot cocoa outdoors and come inside to check out the new HVAC and AV setup in the building. Last but not least, thank you for shopping this week at our Faith in Action Holiday Online Book Sale. If you've missed out, you're not too late, because starting at noon today until the store closes at 10 tonight, all items in the store will be 50% off. We already have raised over $5,000, but still have over 3,000 books, CDs, and DVDs now selling for $1.50 each. All your purchases and donations directly benefit the nonprofit Help Us Move In, which helps Thurston County families with children escape homelessness. The store link is in the chat and can also be found in the Tuesday email update. Please share the link and remind local friends and neighbors about today's clearance sale.
Thank you, Anne. And so as we extinguish our chalice and our chalices together and move out into the world to do the work of the world, we go with this blessing from Meg Barnhouse. May we be kind, strong and brave, joyful useful, loving, honest, and healthy. May we move in peace.
Let's join together in singing our unison benediction. We are part of the web of life. We are part of the web of love. May our words, may our deeds pull the strands of the infinite web toward health, toward justice.